All right, we're going to go out to Fox 13's Ben Winslow. He's got more earthquake coverage and some legislative coverage as well.
All right, let's go out to Ben. What did you feel, Ben?
I'm sorry, I did not hear the question there. What did you say?
Oh, I'm just wondering, did you feel it? Did you feel the the aftershock?
Yes, I live in downtown Salt Lake City, and I very much felt this. Like I felt pretty much all of the aftershocks, more than 1,200 of them now. This is something certainly a lot of people felt, rattled a lot of people out of bed, as you've been pointing out, and as you've noticed, a 4.2 in magnitude of this aftershock like we saw the other night. And, this is a part of the same sequence of the initial 5.7 earthquake on March 18th. At this point, I have been checking in with some agencies here on the state level as well as Salt Lake County. The latest word we have is, fortunately, again, no injuries or damage, but they are, of course, out there still assessing this. This ironically comes just as the legislature is about to meet in a special session in about an hour or so to deal with emergency situations. The legislature calling itself into a special session, which voters allowed them to do back in 2018, in the event of an emergency. The COVID-19 pandemic certainly being that primary emergency for this, but an earthquake also, there was a bill that passed toward the end of the legislative session, allowing lawmakers to meet virtually also in the event of an emergency, and they envisioned things like an earthquake. The COVID-19 pandemic is pretty much what they're using as the justification of this, because the House and Senate chambers don't allow for social distancing. So they're going to have to all be on basically one big Zoom conference call. They are using a different type of network, but it's essentially the same, just so that people are familiar with it, dealing with a lot of emergency-related bills, dealing with reworking the education system as a result of this, dealing with how voting is going to happen for the upcoming primary election, shifting around a lot of money, more than $1 billion of money to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic, with rising unemployment, with a lot of major issues that are happening, local health orders, local health emergencies, how those fit into all of this, how those can be, if they can be regulated, what they're looking at there. So there's a lot that the legislature, ironically enough, was going to be dealing with today and in the next few days related to emergencies. Of course, this just adds to that emergency, and it certainly is unnerving, even though no lawmakers, except for the House Speaker and the Senate President, will be physically in this building. But these aftershocks certainly not calming anyone's nerves. But the good news is, at least according to state emergency officials that I've been talking with in the last little bit, is that that there are no, at least preliminarily, no injuries or damage reported as a result of this. And I'm sure you've been pointing out it is kind of ironic, maybe some sick trolling by Mother Nature, that today is the day of the Great Utah Shakeout, which is a massive earthquake drill.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that we've all gotten the message that, hey, be ready for earthquakes, but just in case you didn't, now's your time to prepare.
Hey, Ben, so you remember during the initial quake on March 18th, a lot of people just came out of wherever they were, downtown especially. Did you find that same kind of thing this morning where people decided to come outside and congregate out of doors?
No, actually, I was on my way up here to the Capitol. I drove through some areas downtown and did not see that. Fortunately, a lot of people who maybe need to work in the downtown area and can't work from home, fortunately, work hours really haven't started yet when this hit about 7:41 this morning. So that's good. Also, there is a certain amount of people who just got used to this. We've all kind of had to learn to just live with it. We don't necessarily like it. I mean, I certainly don't like the shaking, but we've all learned to adjust to it and just be prepared for it.
Yeah, we were just talking to Jamie Farrell, a seismologist with the U of U, and he said, and this was just in his opinion, that it seems like this particular aftershock was felt by a lot more people. So, and I just wondered, did you notice anything different? Could you tell anything from the one the other night to the one this morning, even though they were, the same in size, basically a 4.2?
They were the same in size, but I would say that this one, the duration felt longer, and it just kind of seemed to not end. It just kept going, and so Yeah, I mean, these aren't fun. I'm not a fan of them. I'm sure everybody who's watching this this is getting a little old, but
For sure.
we're all just having to learn to live with it. And remember, we are in earthquake country, so it is a good reminder to be prepared. To have those sneakers by your bedside, have that emergency preparedness kit just in case, because while this was a 4.2. We need to be preparing for much bigger magnitude earthquakes potentially in the future.
Well, it's like when you have a baby, you expect a few sleepless nights and you feel fortunate when you don't have any. It's the same thing living in earthquake country. You can kind of expect these and just feel fortunate when we don't have very many of them. Ben Winslow reporting live on the Hill for us. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.